As a leader, you're often told that the show must go on. Behind that mask, I was sleep deprived. I was spiraling. I realized I was managing everyone else's stress while burying my own. Leadership was definitely costing more than it was giving. But when those choices always involve giving and never receiving, we hit a wall. That wall is burnout. High levels of anxiety become the culture rather than the exception. So, how do we fix a system that is designed to drain us?
Next, we'll transition to focus group interviews on student leaders on SUNY Newport's campus. Thank you.
My name is Derek Rodriguez. I'm a senior major in psychology with a minor in communication studies. I'm the current chapter president of the Kappa Mu chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I am the current president of First World Graduation and the current president of the National Pan-Hellenic Council. So I think balancing it most importantly is your mental, because that's what kind of helps you even be more social. That's what kind of helps you lock in with your academics. But trying to take some time for myself. Like obviously you become a face or a figure on campus, even when you're RA. That's one thing that they heavily repeat, which is like you're always carrying that position even as you're going through campus, even if you're not in the building, stuff like that. But I think I wouldn't even call it a mask. It's just I'm trying to put my best foot forward. But sometimes it's like if I don't have enough in my cup mentally, then it starts to mess up all the other aspects in my life. So taking a time just to breathe, taking a walk, listening to music, but I have to have like alone time. Like I have to have some type of isolation so that way I could put all my guards down and then figure out my next steps.
So my name is Carly Wittenbauer. I'm a senior business management major here. Saying my team comes first really means my team comes first, even beyond like my own personal success on the court. And so it can be hard at times, like to balance the stress of schoolwork. Actually, this past month has been really difficult for me. I'm in a really hard class, and obviously we have playoffs coming up this week, and so I just had a presentation on Tuesday, and I was like super stoked to get that out of the way so that I could focus on basketball. But I think it's just a bunch of like time management and like checking off small boxes as you go to kind of get that sense of accomplishment. Because otherwise it would just be like way too much at once. So just trying to balance everything slowly. I'm incredibly transparent with my team, whether that's like with my own struggles, like on the court, off the court, with their struggles on the court or off the court. Like that is something that our team specifically is very like tuned into. Like we don't bullshit each other, like we keep it a buck with each other and like on the court or off the court, and we hold each other accountable to everything. And you can only hold each other accountable on the court when you have that trust in each other. And so like I've opened up with like my teammates about some of my like mental health struggles and stuff, and like we all know like when someone needs a pick me up, like we're not afraid to be like, "Hey guys, like I'm going through something right now." And so it just creates that environment, fosters an environment of like trust and being able to lean on the person next to you and knowing like, "Hey, like I know they have my back, so like let me have theirs right now." You know what I mean? So just, yeah, like being really open with each other.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elijah London. I am a graduate student here at SUNY Newport, going for my master's degrees in computer science, class of 2026. A few leadership positions that I've been involved with is during my grad year, I've been a graduate assistant for the Center for Student Engagement, graduate assistant for Residence Life, and throughout undergrad, I've been a resident advisor, president and founder of the Men of Color Club, vice president of Student Association, vice president of Caribbean Student Association, and a vice coordinator for Voices of Unity. It all started spring semester junior year. I remember having a prior talk with the former president, Brittany, about, needing to create a space for Black men. She was like, I understand you come from, whereas like you want to be involved on campus. You want to, basically you're like a good student here and you're a good person. And it's kind of hard dedicating that if a lot of space you're in, there's like a lot of like women leaders, or it's basically a club that has a lot of, positions not really filled up with men in it. And that really inspired me because I remembered when I first came to Newport, I did have that struggle trying to create concrete friends, friends that I'll stay with from throughout my freshman and sophomore year. And, getting the support through my fellow friends and other peers hearing out the idea, late night hours, you know, creating um creating the constitution and other guidelines, and eventually built me towards me having the opportunity to get the Men of Color Club approved and knowing that I was going to take such a huge responsibility or something I had to sacrifice. I'd say one thing I would definitely want to change about campus leadership is the idea of I want to I would love for campus leaders to not want to pick up leadership positions for the title or the thought of just being a leader, but really connected to your core values. I feel like a lot of times people that say that they're involved or they're a leader in this position wants it for the wow factor or, basically just get worshiped. I feel like if you truly enjoy the work that you do as a leader, no amount of worship should sacrifice or take away the skills and mentality that you have towards what you're really leader towards.
So my name is Jasmine Alvarez Webster. I'm majoring in health administration. Currently, I work as a civic and community engagement coordinator in the Center for Student Engagement. I'm also a member of Ulster Corps, so that's been pretty great. And I'm a member of the NAACP at Howard University. When I'm under pressure or I feel like I'm being criticized, it varies. It definitely varies. I do not take lightly to criticism at all. Because I feel like I have a lot of things to uphold. I do feel like my ego is definitely up there. But the things that keep me grounded are just thinking about what my family would expect of me. Like, would my mom and dad look at me like I'm crazy if I'm doing all of this? Mm-hmm. Does it reflect poorly on me as a leader if I choose to do something a certain way rather than another? When I think about the difference between being busy or being burnt out, I think it's when you start having to sacrifice a lot of things. So for burnout specifically, once you have to start sacrificing your sleep or things that you do for hobbies or enjoyment, that's when I feel like it's becoming a little bit too much.
My name is Joaldo Jimenez. I'm currently a Black Studies major, minoring in Communication Studies, class of 2026. And some of the clubs, well, currently I'm just an RA at the moment. Being a student leader, it's a lot of socializing. It's a lot of communicating with others. So making sure you have that time to yourself where you can just have that moment to be alone and really recharge. It can look like a variety of different ways to people. It could be just chilling in the room for like a night, or it could be going back home to the family. You know, it manifests in a variety of different ways, but just finding your own outlet is what I would say.
So my name is Karen. I'm a finance major. I'm a senior, and I'm a part of MAVA. I'm the president. I'm the vice president of BASC, the vice president of First World, student leader analyst for the Hawk Fund, and event coordinator for Rejoice for Jesus. Planning for major events, like mega events, like, for example, BASC Life After event, which is trying to get alumni on campus for a panelist event. That was hard because obviously I didn't really know much alumni back then. So often at times I would give up trying to reach out. But I realized if I give up, then the event wouldn't happen. So I should definitely seek out my resources on campus and try to get more help with that. I guess the difference with being busy and being burnt out is being busy is obviously you have a lot going on, but you have a system. Being burnt out is like you have a lot going on, you don't have a system, you're unorganized. You're just doing multiple things at once just cause.
How y'all doing, everybody? My name is Michael Watson. I go by Mike Vita. I'm a senior, a major in digital media productions with a minor in Black Studies. I'm currently vice president of my organization, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Spring 25 initiate by way of the Sigma Eta chapter, ACE. I'm also part of Black Student Union, creative director. One thing I do is outside of school, I have a magazine called Pure Vita Magazine. And what I do is I feature different entrepreneurs and I use that as a way to introduce different career paths to the youth. So one thing that inspires me is putting people in positions that I wasn't in when I was young. I felt like I didn't have resources, coming up from the Bronx, limited resources. So trying to just expand and give people opportunities the best way I can. So I won't lie. One thing I feel like I have been experiencing, is a little bit of burnout, only because, I got personal issues going on. I still got school. I still got frat. I still got my business to run. But one thing, and this is a motto I truly live by: one step, one day at a time. We all have a goal. We all have a dream, and sometimes I feel like we get carried away of trying to reach the end goal, trying to be in a rush, especially where we live in a generation where a lot of people are on their phones. So they literally see like, oh man, this person made it at this time, thinking that things happen like that. But in all reality, they take it one step, one day at a time. For me, I feel like when I'm getting stretched too thin, and I notice because I don't make time for myself, and that's something I really do lack, and that's a goal of mine. I say, like, you have to, and this is something that a brother of mine, shout out to my dean, Isaiah Bienes, he's told me, like, you have to make time for yourself, even if that's 30 minutes going on a walk, even if that's 30 minutes playing the game, 30 minutes of just reading, 30 minutes of, trying a new skill. I definitely feel like, you have to take it one step back to take two forward and ask yourself, okay, where can I better myself at? Where can I put more time in? How can I keep my sanity? At the end of the day, like, we're all students. Well, my peers, we're all students trying to better ourselves. We all have dreams, goals, and aspirations that we want to achieve. So you have to be realistic with yourself, and if sometimes that may be stepping away from something. If you feel like you're not, putting your all into it, sometimes you may have to step away in order to focus on better things. So I definitely say, like, be realistic with yourself.
My name is Omar. I'm currently a senior, and I'm in a digital media production major. I'm a part of a couple of clubs like MCC, NABA, and also MSA. I say the spaces that I feel like deserve my much time and energy are the spaces in which I can give the most value to. If I feel like I don't really understand what your mission is, then there isn't a real way that I can add value to it. I'll say I was working at this job at LA Fitness as a person selling personal training, and I was taking on extra shifts so that I can improve faster. I wanted to become one of the best over there. But what tended to happen was I was staying there like 7 days out the week, staying for like 8, 12, 15 plus hours. Well, not 15, but 13 hours. And whenever I'll come the next day, I was so exhausted to the point where I couldn't really put in much effort. I was much slower in my responses. I wasn't actually speaking to as much people as I should have. So that really told me that, yes, it's good to put in work and go after it, but you need to give your body some rest.
My name is Christopher Estrella. I'm a relational communications major with a minor in Dutch studies. I'm currently a senior at Repose. And some extracurricular activities is I play volleyball. I'm in a volleyball club, Intramuros, and I'm the student union manager at PESA. Well, more or less, I would say I'm kind of a people's person in a sense. So I like to give back to the community and give back to the public. So at any moment that I could put myself in a position to do that, said things, like give back to the community, I'm going to do it. Like, for example, I also joined the Latin American Student Union. We basically give light into like the Latino community and like help branch out and also just give love, to our people here. Being busy is more or less having like things like let's put it into like an organization list. You have your classes, your homework, your classwork, and also like your actual job. If you could organize your times and like really put things to like actually do, you could manage all of that. But when you're burnt out, it's like you don't even want to look at that list. You don't want to be organized, and you're just doing things to do things. And at some point, you're just not gonna want to do it anymore. So that's what I'll say. Like, being busy is definitely not being burnt out, but you can get burnt out really quickly if you have a proper mindset.